Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah Martin with the Contoured Chemist. And if you've ever seen my lash playlist, you know I have tried just about every under lash extension at home DIY type of lash there is. I've been wearing these lashes pretty much 24/7 for about 7 to 8 years. So let's do a quick talk through all the things you guys need to know if you're getting started, and what I would recommend starting with, because I discovered a new kit and I think it is what I've been hoping would come out for a long time for those of you that are wanting to try this kind of system and don't want to invest in a cartridge that will give you one wear and set you back 35 bucks. So if you've been intrigued on this type of under lash system that you can do your lashes once and wear them for a week, this kit says up to 14 days. We're gonna see. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out my other lash playlist if you want very in-depth lash tutorials. And let's get on with it. So most of you guys know I've worn these lashes a very long time. I started with Lashify. That was about the only thing you could find at the time, but they're pricey. I would have to wash, reuse them. I was always looking for an alternative to be able to continue my habit, and also the glue, the bond to hold them on my lashes. I developed an allergic reaction and now I cannot use it at all. So I have been using the Falscara bond for a very long time. I love my Lilac Street, my Lynx lashes, and I am always trying to find the holy grail Amazon that don't fall apart in less than a week. I'm still looking. So when I discovered this while I was roaming my local Walgreens, I was like, oh my gosh. So if you guys saw, I originally did a tutorial review on the Falscara system forever ago. This is what they used to look like. There was like one length all the way across your eye. Didn't really work well. The bond is great. The remover is great. The tool was not great. But this is like completely on another level than I've ever seen from the brand. And when I first looked at it, I was like, that is perfect for the newbie. There's all these different sizes. Not only are they in different lengths, but different widths, which I've never even seen from the expensive brands. And the number of times I need a smaller one for my inner corner, it could be such a game changer. So we're gonna test this. It has the same bond that I've been using, so I know I won't have a reaction, but it has these removable little sections where you fill and customize the wisps you use. They call them wisps. I'm so used to calling them gossamers from years of wearing Lashify, but the tool is different. They redesigned it. It looks so much better. So I'm gonna go ahead and do one eye, and I'm gonna come back, share with you guys what I recommend step by step if you're brand new. And we're gonna see if this starter kit is as good as I think it's going to be upon first looking at it, because this is what I've been waiting for many, many years, for so many of you guys that have issues when you're starting out. So let's try it. Okay, friends, I did one eye, very natural. I'd say this set's gonna be great for a beginner, because when you're starting out, you don't know what sizes are right for your eyes until you try it. I always say you wanna start shorter, and then you'll get more confident wearing the lashes, and then you can go longer. Once you see what they look like on your eye and what your preference is. So these are in 8, 10, and 12 millimeter lengths. And then there's different widths, and the smaller the length, the smaller the width, which makes it great for inside, outside corners, because those smaller sizes are usually what we put there anyway. That being said, I typically wear 14 millimeter, 16 millimeter. I have a really large eyelid space. So just take that into consideration that if you have a large lid space like I do, it might feel very short for you to wear 12. Like I feel like these look very short. Now that doesn't mean they look bad. They just look really natural. I wear 14s and 12s are the longest in this kit. So that's why they look a little bit shorter than normal, but they still look really good. So let me show you how I achieved this. First of all, prep, step one, do not need any fancy pre-cleanse or anything like that. I've tried all the pre-cleanses. I've tried all of the gimmicky cleansers. You don't need it. You need a cotton swab and micellar water. There's no oils in this that they say are gonna break down. I'm a chemist, I looked at the ingredients. I've used this same brand, the Garnier Pink Cap one, for years. It works better than the pre-cleanses in my opinion. I just get the end wet, and you always, always, always apply these lashes if you want them to last a full week. Clean skin. I have nothing on my face except my skincare, but then I'm gonna go ahead and get off all that skincare on the entire eyelid and underneath my eye, inner corner, all of that like the lashes could possibly come in contact with, just concentrating along the lash line. Let that dry, and that is your entire prep. Now I like to save this also to keep the wand clean. So I will say that this wand is a little bit harder for me to use. I typically use the Lashify wand. I have been for years. Obviously they're a different shape, but I'm used to this one. I'm not used to this one. So this one took me a little bit of finicking, but I do think it is night and day better than the original. But just make sure, like if this is the second time you're using it, make sure you don't have any bond left over. I always save my Q-tip, clean off my wand so it's nice and clean and not sticky or tacky before I'm gonna go on with my lashes. And that is my entire prep. Clean skin, no makeup, micellar water. Oils are what cause these little wisps to break apart while you're wearing them. So too much oil on your eyelids. If you have oily eyelids like me, just make sure you're prepping them beforehand. So step two is pulling out your lash map. So a lash map is just the order in which you're going to be applying those lashes across your eye. I will say I'm very impressed. There was kind of like a little instruction sheet. I typically ignore these because I don't agree with how they tell you to apply them, in my opinion. After trial and error for many, many years, I'll tell you that their instructions usually aren't sufficient, but they do have like these lash maps already on here to show you kind of which style of lash and how to stack. So a stack just means that you would put multiple layers on top of each other. I did not stack multiple layers, but I did brick stack. So I'll show you that in the application. That gives better longevity. This stacking method here gives you a thicker lash. So if you just put one layer of wisps across your lashes, obviously they're gonna be thinner. And if then you double it up, it's gonna give you a thicker effect. Now, the collection I got was the Delicate, and I saw they also had, I believe, a Dramatic, which had much different style of wisps. So this one has light, fluffy, and spiky. So these looked typically most similar to what I normally wear, and so that's why I grabbed these. So this is the 8mm, 10mm, 12mm, and you can kind of see which ones I used. I attempted to use this one. It is way too curled and just hit my hood. So again, this is why these kits are helpful. Sometimes you'll buy an entire set, an entire $35 eye look, and it doesn't work for your eye shape. So testing out different styles in this way, I love that they give you multiple styles. They originally only did one of all the same length. This is what their original kit looked like. And so you'd have to buy multiples to get different lengths it just wasn't smart. So this one has everything that you can possibly need, from your bond, your clear coat to make sure it's not sticky. It even has something that's supposed to give you longer wear, which I'm gonna try. I've tried other brands, and in my personal opinion, it's not needed. If your application is good, it will still last. And then it also has a remover, which is really nice because normally that's separate. So for the money, this is a great deal. So when it comes to a lash map, I typically go from inside corner to outside corner. I usually do shorter on the outsides, longer in the middle. Because 12 was the longest length, I just did 2 different styles, and I did 12s all the way across. I did the fluffy ones on the outside corners, and then I went ahead and put one fluffy smaller one on the inside just to kind of fill that gap. Let me show you what I did. You want to take your wand. This, I would say, was a little bit harder to get off of the little cartridges than I'm used to. So you can pull out each one, and then, like, I'd say my biggest complaint right now is that there's not very many of the long length of each. There's 6. And some of these lash maps, like this one on the bottom, I was like, oh, that looks pretty. It uses 8 of that length for one eye. So you can't necessarily do that unless you buy separate, which I believe these are available separately. So if you find a style you like, then you can get those. But typically I grab them by the ends and gently pull, and that works for some of them, and then others it did not work so well for. So you might have to kind of go in at an angle, which I felt like, and get the band portion and then peel off. So I had to kind of take it out. Not the end of the world, but just a heads up, you want to be real careful and not just pull, you know, the individual lash part where they can easily break. These are clear bands, so you can't really see them, but they're kind of like rubber. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I feel like you can see them in some circumstances underneath the eye. You probably can't on camera. I feel like they're a little bit heavier than other bands, but they have better longevity as opposed to, like, they won't break in half while you're wearing them. So that's maybe one reason why these can last 14 days as opposed to original ones just kind of had this black band. Those tend to break down more with oils. So the rubber, the clear bands, they do have more strength, if you will. I brought you down all up close and personal so you guys can see. I wanted to show you how I do my lash map. So I typically just lay it out, if you can see, on my little mirror here. And I go from inside to outside corner. So today I'm doing a 10 millimeter inside corner of the fluffy. And then I'm doing the fluffy 12. Then I'm going to the light for 2 of the 12s in the middle, and then a 12 fluffy on the outside corner. That's what I did here. And I could definitely stack more, but I like mine a little bit light, as lightweight as possible. You can probably see. One thing I wanted to point out is your entire goal when we are laying these out and doing application. I say my most asked question is, how do I get better longevity? It is 100% making sure you're not applying too little or too much bond. Too much will make them slide off, sticky, creates a huge mess. Placement on the eye. If you get too close to the waterline, so you should be able to see, sorry for the jump scare, that you can see my natural lashes in between the spine of these little wisps and my actual waterline, which is, you know, the part of my eyelid that stays wet, right? So you should be able to see some of my lashes between the spine and that waterline. That is your goal. If you can't see that natural lash peeking through, and it's just like a millimeter, then that means the spine of these are you're gonna either feel them when you should be able to blink hard, you'll be able to feel them. If you feel them, they're too close and they will not last because they're gonna continuously be wet and they're eventually gonna just pop up and fall off, okay? So placement is everything. And the same goes for too far in the inner corner or outer corner. So you'll see here, my placement, a couple millimeters from the outside corner. And then you wanna always leave some natural lashes. And you'll see, I do not have natural lashes all the way down to my inner corner. I'm guessing most people don't. So you always wanna make sure you leave out some of your natural lashes because these have to adhere to your natural lashes. If you don't have lashes, they don't adhere to the skin like strip lashes do. These are adhering to your lashes. So you gotta leave some out. If it's just stuck to like one single lash, you're not gonna have any longevity there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out this first is called Infuse Bond. And the only two things I'm going to use is this bond, and then I'm going to seal it with the water resistant seal. That is the exact same thing that is in this double tube. So if you use these up, you can just get this. I love the 2-in-1. So this is what I'm gonna use, bond. This is the glue. And here is my next advice. Don't apply it directly to the lash. I see so many people doing that and having issues. You want to apply this to your lashes so that you're not over applying it. If you start over applying and you're applying it to this like normal lashes, usually you're gonna be applying too much product, okay? It takes very little. In fact, I'd say the brush of this is a little bit different than in the double-ended one, and it just looks like a really tiny mascara wand. Do not just brush it through. This is what happens if you do. So I'm gonna be looking down, so hopefully you guys can see. If you brush it through your lashes, do you see how that just looks like mascara? All of that bond is gonna become a sticky mess. Your lashes are gonna stick together. You're gonna be able to see them sticking together through the actual lashes. So I don't want you to do that. In fact, that was so much and it's now making a mess through that. If you do you're gonna have to comb through all of your lashes before you apply any. I like to concentrate with the tip of these brushes, lift my eyelid while I'm looking down into a mirror. This is why I have it set up like this. It is impossible to apply these type of lashes without looking down. So you want to just dot this bond about 1 millimeter above that waterline. So you'll feel it this kind of bond is very sticky very fast. You dot it on where you're gonna be applying it. That means I do not go all the way in and all the way out because then it's just gonna be too tacky. And that's it. I'm gonna put the cap back on. Now I can go in with my first lash, and like I said before, I brick stack. Brick stacking just means you're gonna lay one wisp and then you're gonna lay the other one over it, and you're gonna like stack the edges. So that way they're not gonna split in the middle of your week wear and pop off, and you're gonna get way longer longevity, I promise. Once I started doing this, I never ever lost lashes, and they always last a week. So I'm not taking the outermost lash. I'm gonna take the one right next to it. So this is one of the light ones, and you can kind of see, clear band, kind of hard to see. I'm going to take this, I'm gonna flip this tool around so that I have the tips of it like so that I can lift my lid, oh my gosh, and place this. So if I'm looking at my pupil, like right towards, if I'm looking straight forward, right towards the edge of my actual iris of my eye, that's how far over. So I'm gonna take it and place it as close as I can get to the waterline while still being able to see my natural lashes next to it. And I'm just gonna push it up. And by now that bond is sticky enough that it's stuck and I don't have to do anything. Okay, so I still have plenty of room to put another one right here and leave space, because again, gotta leave those last lashes out. So I'm gonna take the bond again. Now, if I was to just place it and overlap that corner's not gonna be stuck to anything. And so then it will start popping as well. So you wanna just put a tiny bit more of your bond right on top of that wisp you just applied. And then I like to put just a touch more right next to it. So then I'm gonna go in with my next one. And this one is the fluffy. And I'm gonna put the exact, and I'm gonna overlap that corner, line it up, push it on. Now, once I have two, then I like to go in and infuse. And this is what will make it, I don't wanna say permanent, but this is what's gonna make it not fall off. You wanna make sure your placement's right where you want it before you go in and you squeeze. So I'm gonna flip that tool over, line it up, and squeeze, and be careful when you're pulling it away because it can get stuck if you have too much bond. Now, I was pretty good because I didn't apply too much. I don't have too much bond on there, but you wanna have towel or use your fingers, and you wanna make sure you get that off in between every time, or you're gonna go to put your next lash on and it's gonna get stuck onto the tool and it won't stick where you want it, and it's a pain in the booty. Next one, just gonna repeat, and you get really good and really fast at this after doing it for some time. Just gonna push it on. Okay, two more there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go and infuse. Now, if your tool, kind of like this one, does not really match the curvature of your eye, do what they call a reverse fuse and flip it over. And that way you can get all the way down to that spine of that little wisp, because that's the part you want adhered, and you can just squeeze. Gentle squeeze and it gets stuck on Here's there. Where it's a good example. I still have one wisp left, okay? Even though it's not real big, I don't have enough lashes left. So my eyes are different sizes, shapes. Sometimes your placement is slightly different, and sometimes you won't need the exact same amount on both. And so I had one extra room for it over here, but over here, I know my eyes, and if I try to put one right there on that one single lash, it's going to, first of all, bug me because I'm gonna be able to feel it. And second of all, it's not gonna last a day. It might last a day. That'll be about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call it good, and I'm gonna put that one back and save her for later. I could probably fit an itty bitty one. Like I said, I do like the fact that they have smaller widths, which like that size I could probably fit there, but I'm probably just gonna leave it as is so I'm not bothered by it. Then we seal it. Now, if you're feeling right now and you're like, oh, you can feel it like when you close your eyes, that stickiness, the only way to get it to go away is to seal it with this. And so I just take a little bit along the base there, and then also a little bit along the top. Now, if you get too much, it's good to have some kind of spoolie that you can brush it out, so your lashes will get stuck together otherwise. But you can also take this and run it along your tool and then fuse one last time. And I like to kind of slowly pull it up and just make sure I get that entire base nice and fused. And it also makes sure you get all that stickiness gone as well. Get it off, obviously. So I've never tried this Bondi Boost, but this is the one that is supposed to give you longer wear time. You can just reinforce it. So pretty much this, you just can put on another layer if you want it to last longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it just because I've never tried it. Oh, it's black. Oh man. I wonder if this covers the clear band. Let's try it. I feel like it does give some, like the clear band is clear, but for some reason it's like the shininess of it. of that reflection is what I feel like I can see. And I do feel like that takes it away. Okay. I was gonna write this off as unnecessary, but if that's its purpose, I might be using it. I feel like, I didn't know if I'd like that, but I feel like it makes the lashes look a little bit thicker. The lash line look thicker, almost like I'm wearing eyeliner. Okay, I will keep you posted. There you go. You wanna do one eye at a time, and you wanna make sure you seal that so it's not sticky. Oh gosh. And don't blink while that bond is drying, because it just went underneath my eye, because that's black. Good to know. All right, step 4 was to fuse and seal, and here's what they look like now that the bond has dried, and I feel like it helped. Usually a week I'm dying to kind of take them off, so we're gonna see. So 5 would be how to keep them on throughout the week, and that is daily fusing. So grab your tool, whatever your tool is, and you can just gently squeeze along the lash line, and that will kind of keep it on, especially if you are a side sleeper overnight. Sometimes you need to squeeze that outer corner to re-adhere it. I believe this type of bond, the longer wearing bond, helps you not have to do that. So we're gonna see if that helps. I'll be honest, I have application down so well that I don't fuse through the week except for maybe once or twice, and it still lasts on me. Know that the more times you fuse, the more you're gonna break down each individual lash. So if you're finding that they're just splitting and you're losing like little lashes coming off, not the entire wisp, that might be due to fusing too many times. I'm ready to remove them. I'll hop back on and show you guys the remover. I've never used this one. I've used the Falscara one, but it was pink. It's a biphase. I'm guessing it's the same one, maybe just not colored. So there you go. There is really simple. I feel like if this was around back in the day when I started, I don't know if I would have been spending so much money, because that was really easy and all in one kit and way cheaper. The starter kits I used to buy were over $120 each. I believe this was $30. I found it on Amazon, so I will link it down below. There's 2 styles. I'd say if you want more of a false lash effect, get a dramatic one. This is definitely gonna be more natural style. There you go, that's all you need to start on your DIY lash extension journey. Let me know if that helped down in the comments below, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I have makeup done. I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, I'm always here to help. Just drop them in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys so much for being here and watching. Love you.